This episode is brought to you by thedolphinwars.com.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to King Dolphin Television. I am Raymond Feliciano, author of the Dolphin Wars trilogy and ruler of the greatest pod on YouTube.
Well, look who's here.
Yes, I just got him. I just pinged him. This is episode 322, another exciting installment of Radio King Dolphin TV, and unfortunately I couldn't find the entrance music for the video, so I guess we will have to muddle along without it. I have a great cast this time to do the reading of All's Fair, chapters 9 to 13, and I'm waiting on one more person to get in here, which is why I'm stalling.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, judge, nod, nod, say no more.
Yep, there he is. Okay. While he's doing that, I will welcome the chatters first, and then I will introduce our cast. We have the amazing Pudgy Hedgehog, who says, yay, story time. Yes, story time. Welcome, Pudgy, and I know Cobalt's in the background, so welcome to you, Cobalt. And then we have FKHC 2005, who's been putting out ads for the show. You can take a look at those as we are going through it. We have Legatus Legionnaire, the first one in, the last one out. And we've got Snortopoopus Cube.
Snortopoopus.
Yep.
Cube.
Yep, Mini Snort is waiting in the background. He's looking forward to the story too. So, okay. Anybody else that comes in later, since we're going to do the reading, I will shout them out after the reading. But first, I would like to introduce my amazing cast for the reading. We will start out with Antiderivative Jill. You've heard her read before. She does an amazing job. Well, welcome, Jill.
Oh, thank you. I'm a little under the weather today, but I don't have too many lines, so it should be good.
She was celebrating her birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday, Jill.
Thank you.
Oh my God, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to you.
Thanks.
And next is Agent Pepsi 1, who's also done some reading work. How are you doing?
Oh, doing well. Hello, everybody.
And the Comic Relief Crusader.
Hello.
Yes. All right. And finally, the narrator of this episode, Max Redstone. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. I have just gotten a new camera, and I am playing with it as I am preparing to give you soft, dulcet tones.
All right.
Ooh.
Awesome. Okay. Again,
Loft. Hello.
again, we will do the reading. We'll do the reading first, and we don't have background music, so kind of imagine the sci-fi background music score wafting in the background.
Okay, I'll stop.
Okay, so without further ado, this is All's Fair, chapters 9 to 13, and we will begin in 1, 2, 3, now.
The Sejan strike group went through its deployment evaluation and passed with flying colors. As a result, they were due to deploy within the week. R.A. Ando was in his ready room when his yeoman said over the intercom,
Admiral, there's a Commander Reynolds waiting to see you.
Send them in and have the command staff report here ASAP.
Captains Harvey, Weeks, and Hart arrived at the same time. Ando then had the commander join them. Ando said,
I understand you're going to give us our deployment situation briefing. Everyone, this is Commander Reynolds.
They all sat down and Ando signaled for the briefing to proceed.
Hold on. I'm bringing up the file. My computer's lagging severely.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Meanwhile, in another part of the conference room, far, far, far away,
King Dolphin.
Oh my God.
King Dolphin brings up Pudgy saying, how to make money selling spoons door to door.
It's a stupid lag, you stupid computer.
Legato, hey, comic. I've got a way to take care of it.
Do you?
Boom.
I mean, that would work.
This is the BBC Home Office. This broadcast has come under attack by nuclear weapons. You have approximately 4 minutes to reach shelter.
Oh, poo.
Do not leave your home. Shut off all electric and water mains.
That's crazy.
Okay, hold on. It's loading up. It's loading up. Okay, where am I? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, there we go.
That's strange, though. It did not go boom.
They all sat down and Ando signal. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Sir, let me be the first by saying that I am not assigned to Marscom staff, but to the 3rd Fleet. The situation in Marscom has become very strange in the past weeks. As you know, per the Milan Accords, the majority of Marscom personnel have been assigned to the militia, and all ships have been exclusively Martian crews belonging directly to Marscom, which has not yet been a major problem. But now, there have been some unusual things going on. As per order from Marscom staff, all ships manned exclusively by militiamen have been separated into a de facto new force. The 3rd Fleet can exercise with them, but we have no command authority over them.
Ando asked,
how extensive is the problem?
Well, most of the assignments are in the fleet. We don't have much of a problem with the Marine and the flight forces. It seems like they did not want positions in those 2 branches. Now, another distressing problem is that militia forces have located to Deimos for some reason.
Ando said,
the Sink is not commanding the Martian ships? Where does that leave them?
Well, Force Command doesn't want them to be seen as breaking the Accords. So, on the other hand, they publicly agree to Marscom's demands, and on the other hand, they're dealing directly with what's left of the fleet. And one of the things that they're telling us is to protect our individual commands. Terrorist incidents are rising at the planet-side bases, and the only secure locations are the space stations and shipyard.
Bottom line time, Commander. What is your prediction?
Well, we think that they're ready to declare their independence. Why else would they consolidate their forces?
The day prior to deployment, all the squadron's ready rooms were packed. Inside 480 spaces were the 28 line crews and 8 attached staff. The intercom screen came on and revealed Admiral Ando, flanked by Captains Harvey and Weeks.
This is our deployment briefing. Captain Weeks, please begin.
Weeks took the spot on the podium and said,
He said, okay, first slide.
The first slide showed the CSG's order of battle.
We expect it'll be a 2-week journey. At the end of the first week, we will meet with Mitcher and receive their after-action report. There will be some changes once we arrive in Martian space. 1 strike squadron and a detachment of 480 will deploy to Seeker. Another strike squadron and a detachment of the command and control squadron will deploy to the Traveler shipyard. We are still powerful enough to defend ourselves as well as to conduct offensive operations. The Admiral wants to make sure that there is a 0-6 on board each of the deployment locations to ensure clarity and sanity. The CSG-XO will be on board Traveler and the DCAG will be at the Seeker. These will be autonomous detachments under the operational control of the station's host wings. Just remember, you aren't alone out there because we'll be keeping in contact with you throughout the deployment. Our primary objective here is to follow the flag and do whatever the Third Fleet wants us to do. Admiral Ando feels that the situation in the sector being so volatile, we'll need to start alert rotations the minute we get into Martian space. We will get more into this concept while underway. Admiral, do you have anything to say?
No, except I want to remind everybody to fly safe and everyone comes back from this deployment, the Admiral said. Dismissed.
And then he signed off. Later in their quarters, Tran was talking to Tanya while they lay in bed. Tanya asked,
What have you heard about Jan?
Well, from what I've heard from the squadron, he's a great stick. I know the Warhawks will make him a great warrior and teach him the skills to keep him alive. You know his gift will make him an asset to the wing. I also think that this situation is very dangerous, and I want to make sure that we all come back safely. I just don't like that Mars is trying to split up our combat power. I need to make sure that our hosts give us orders that make sense.
Is the situation really that bad over there?
Yes, love, they are. Right now, I wish that the Milan Accords would allow 2 carriers there. The Martian government knew what they were doing when they forced the Accords on us.
I'm just worried about you and Jan in a volatile situation. I wish I were going with you.
Remember, love, you're over your reserve flying time for this month. You can't fly till next month. Unfortunately, for the duration, you must keep the home front fires burning.
He ducked when the pillow went flying. Chapter 10. Led by the Sejan, the carrier strike group began to deploy. Once they left their docks, they got into formation and proceeded before the assembled family members as they cheered at their departure. The crew manned the rails in their spacesuits. Once they left, they went into formation and activated their push drives for the 2-week journey to Mars. The carrier strike group had an uneventful journey to Mars. The only interruption was when they linked up with the Michener CSG. During that time, they debriefed the personnel and conducted training exercises between the 2 groups. While the group was in push mode, they could not conduct flight operations, so they spent the time conducting battle drills, and the flight crews conducted ground training in order to prepare for the area that they would be operating from. As the CSG entered Martian Space Detachment Beta CVW-8, consisting of the Reapers VFA-23 and one EC-101 Vampire from the Seekers of VAW-3, prepared for their departure to Traveler. Ando and DCAG Hart watched in pre-fly as Captain Harvey led the formation of fighters to transport shuttles from the carrier. Later, Detachment Alpha, led by DCAG Hart, launched from the carrier with the Comets of VFA-81 and 4 fighting ferrets from the Warhawks. They flew to Seeker. When the detachment arrived at the squadron's parking area, Hart was met by the station commander, Commodore Stephen Riker. Riker shook her hand and said,
"Welcome, Captain. It's good to see you."
Thank you, Commodore. It's good to see you as well. Are there any changes that we need to know about?
Well, not right now. Things have been pretty quiet out here. I'd like to invite you and your crews to get an area briefing.
Give us a chance to settle in first.
Well, tomorrow then?
Hart advised the squadron and detachment commander.
I want all the aviators at the area briefing tomorrow, and then I want us to start flying orientation flights. We'll start alert in 2 days.
On board the Sejan, a transport brought senior members from the 3rd Fleet. They had a private briefing with Admiral Ando. Afterward, he came out and called for Weeks to join him. When he came in, Ando said,
I want to start flight operations immediately. Work with our ships to do counter-ship tactics. I also want a fully armed combat air and seed patrol starting ASAP.
Aye, sir. We already worked out the first week's schedule during the trip. We will start the area orientation at 1600 this afternoon. We start crew rest after the briefing.
Good job, Jerry. Any word from Connie or Steve yet?
No, sir.
Keep me posted.
Jan was studying his materials to prepare for his flight tomorrow when his communicator screen came on. He looked and saw Lorena.
Hi, honey. How's it going? I haven't heard from you for a while.
We were off the grid for a week. How was the trip in?
Uneventful, except when two cruisers demanded that we get escorted through the sector. I have no idea why, and Dad said at first we didn't want it. I mean, for goodness sake, we have 5 freaking ships.
Oh.
After talking to the fleet liaison officer, we decided to have the escort.
I haven't heard about this, but I will check into it to let you know.
On a lighter note, when will you be at Seeker? I think I might be able to get shore leave if you go there.
I doubt it. We're going to be busy for at least a while.
Okay, keep me posted. Think we may be able to go planet side?
It depends on how long you want to stay on the planet. I've only been on Mars once to have a mandatory dinner there with my father.
Ouch. How did that go?
Well, Mom and my brother were fine and glad to see me. But the time with Father was like having my teeth pulled. I could not wait to get back to the ship. How are you? How are your mom and dad doing?
Dad's fine. Mom wanted to come, but unless she was on reserve status, she couldn't. And since she's over her monthly flying hours, they pulled her reserve status. She was pissed.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, I have to go.
Yeah, I've got 10 minutes until crew rest. Love you.
I love you too. Good night.
The screen went blank. In the communication room of Sterling, a technician pulled a disk from the console and put it in the CO's distribution box. Chapter 11. The next day, Jan reviewed his mission data for about the 15th time as the other crews, including the alert crews, arrived. Weeks entered the ready room and Jan called it to attention. The aviators started to rise, but with a gesture, the CAG kept them in their seats. He looked at the schedule and sat for the mass briefing. which was conducted by a weather specialist who gave the spatial conditions for their flight and the weather in their target area. Then intelligence briefed on the situation in their sector of operations and threats in the target area. They received emission frequencies and verification of which fighter that each pilot was assigned. He then took the podium and admonished everyone to fly safe and smart. At 06:30, Beast started the briefing. He discussed their overall mission objective for the day and how they would navigate to their restricted operating zones. He also talked about the weapons they had on their jets and the tactics they would use. Afterward, he took Jan into a private room so they could brief the element portion as Specs did with Boots. Afterward, they went to their personal equipment room and drew their gear, then went to board their fighting ferrets. Jan met the plane captain and did his pre-flight. Jan's fighting ferret was loaded with 2 auxiliary fuel tanks, 2 live anti-radiation missiles, 6 live cluster bomb units, and a full gun load. This would be the first time that he carried live munitions. Despite the Martians' protest, they were tasked to be seed patrol. He carefully checked the weapons to ensure that they were properly loaded in the bay. Once this was done, he climbed the ladder to the cockpit and strapped himself in with the assistance of the plane captain. When he looked over to his lead, he saw Beast wrapping up his pre-flight. He looked over at the rest of the flight, and he saw that they were all ready and nodded his head. Jan nodded his head, as did Specs and Boots. Jan counted to 3 and then started the engine. At this time, a metal panel flipped up behind the nozzles as the fighting ferret's engine roared to life. Jan cross-checked the instruments exactly by the book. After he did his check, he nodded to Beast while he counted to 3 again, and then the 4 canopies came down in unison. They then went to the catapults where they were loaded and shot from the carrier. Once the 4 fighters joined the fingertip formation, they circled in a racetrack orbit where they would wait for any action. The rules of engagement strictly forbade them from launching any live ordnance, but the CSG command was taking no chances. For the most part, the orbits were uneventful. Jan stayed at Beast 6 and would warn him if there were any air threats locking in on him. He reached out with his instinct and saw nothing. He did see, however, that they would be flying over Deimos as part of a larger package. Just then, they heard the following.
Talon 21. This is Baystar. Go secure.
Confused, Beast selected the secure frequency and said,
Baystar, Talon 21.
Talon 21 and 22. Prepare for tasking. Repeat, prepare for tasking.
Beast clicked the mic twice.
State your configuration and status.
This was a request for them to state their current fuel level and armament status.
Talon 21, this is 11.9. Full live configuration.
There was
Talon 22, 11.6, full live configuration.
There was a pause, and then the squadron said,
We will advise 23 and 24 that they are a 2 ship and to RTB.
Beast and Jan set their radios to authenticate whoever contacted them, and then to make sure that they were speaking to the carrier. The lights were green, and then they heard.
Talon 2-1, this is Dagger Actual.
This meant that it was a CSG commander himself.
You are tasked to fly the Deimos and conduct an electronic reconnaissance overflight. Your time on target is 0930. There will be a tanker to meet you on your egress. Do you copy?
Talon 2-1 copies.
2-2 copies. We are data linking the navigation to you. Advise us when you have it. You will have Claw 2-1 flight joining you as your combat air patrol.
They received navigation and communication information.
Maintain radio silence until you get to the tanker at 10:30 and join with Claw.
The screen showed they had the information.
2-1 checks.
After the carrier double-clicked and signed off, he turned to the flight frequency.
Steel Eye, this is our only chance. We'll get to talk. Read your mission orders, and when we're done, we'll do a wing waggle. Remember, this is your first combat flight, so follow my lead and fly smart.
2 checks.
Jan saw Beast do a wing waggle and pull up and to the right, and he followed. He looked at the mission objective, which is a patrol area close to Demios, which confirmed his vision. Claw 21 flight from the Hellcats was configured as armed reconnaissance, and they would attempt to enter Demios area. They were armed for anti-air in case they were jumped. Talon flight would provide defense suppression and electronic reconnaissance. The mission's objective was not only to test Martian defenses in the area, but also hopefully to see what was going on there that the Martian militia wanted to keep secret. Since they would be on a combat mission, they would operate under total radio silence. They would also turn off their IFF transponders so they would not be identified. Once they got there, they would use their sensor systems to track any emissions that they felt would be of intelligence value, and then they would use their cameras to see what they could find. Jan cross-checked the navigation towards the target and took his position in a trail behind 21. His last thought before he focused on flying the mission was,
Well, Instinct, don't fail me now.
they rendezvoused with the 4-ship formation of Claw 21 flight. When they arrived at Demios, Claw 21 took a geosynchronous position over Demios and activated their passive sensor arrays. At this position, they would monitor the entire moon in minutes and gather the electronic intelligence. Talon flight split up on either side of them and activated their passive sensors. For this mission, they were going to avoid any interceptors or defenses because it was strictly reconnaissance. Jan reached out with his instinct and saw 2 fighters entering the range of his perception. He sent a data link to Beast.
2 bandits, 6 o'clock low.
Okay, Steel Eye, let's see what happens.
Beast data linked the information to Claw Flight so they were aware. As they monitored their scopes, they received on their radio, "Attention! Unidentified spacecraft. This is restricted area. Leave now or you will be engaged." Jan looked at his scope and saw 2 small fighter indicators leaving the surface of the planet. They did not respond because they wanted to get some sort of response so that they could get as much information as they could. Because Jan and Beast were weasels, it was their job to rustle up the enemy defenses in order to destroy them. When the package completed their first sweep, the fighters were closing to engagement range. Beast knew the ROE, but he was not the package commander, so he waited to see what Claw 21 would do. Just as the Martian fighters attempted to intercept, Claw 21 waggled his wings and pulled away. Jan followed, just avoiding the fighters as they intercepted him. As he left, he turned on his camera and took pictures of the fighters, which were nothing like they had in the Space Defense Force in inventory. They had reached tanker orbit and took formation behind. The tanker maneuvered its refueling boom into a position in front of Beast. When it was his turn, he effortlessly connected the boom and took in his fuel. After he broke away, Jan easily flew to within the boom. After he took out his fuel, he broke away and they started to fly to the carrier. When they reached the carrier, Beast and Jan turned to the landing frequency because they were the 2 jets that had been out the longest. Beast said,
Talon 2-1, flight and pattern.
The controller said,
Talon 2-1 flight. You are clear. Expedited landing.
They did the break and entered the pattern, and this time the LSO would use the tractor beams to guide them on their final approach. Jan was curious because it was rare that they would use tractors for landing. He thought it was important that they get on the ground right the first time. He did feel insulted, though. Beast reported that he was on final and received his final landing clearance. As one landed, Jan took his position and said,
Talon 2 on final.
Talon 2, you are on tractor.
Jan started to slow down to approach speed and turned to the approach angle and lined up his pad at the proper speed and approach angle. He received an indicator showing that the landing beam had him properly and would guide him in, and was also his signal to move the throttle to idle. The ship settled on to the deck and was immediately taxied to the elevator. When Jan got to his spot on the staging deck, he shut his aircraft down. He waited for the claw package to land and get on deck before they would repressurize the deck. Jan waited patiently, and when he saw the indicator showing the deck was pressurized, he opened his canopy. The plane captain came up to his ladder and helped him undo his straps. He departed the craft and gathered up his gear. The squadron intelligence officer met him and said,
Steel Eye, I need the data disk.
Jan handed it to him and asked,
What's up with this? It's not every day I have to do the beam.
I don't know, but I do know that Hard Nose, the CAG, and the Big Brass will be in your debriefing.
Jan shook his head and met up with Beast as they headed toward the maintenance debrief. Jan asked,
Beast, what's up?
Oh, they must really want this information. Now that we do basic mission debrief with the others and take a hard look at whatever we have, those pictures of those fighters that you took should wet their pants.
They finished their debriefing at maintenance and then went to the main wing briefing spaces. When they arrived at their briefing room, they saw R.A. Ando and his command staff and CAG Weeks and his staff. As they took their seats, Ando said,
This is classified top secret. The reason we pulled you away from your training mission is that we were tasked to enter Deimos space and obtain any intelligence on their defenses and what they're doing down there. When I received this mission, I decided the best way to do it was to pull your 2 ships. In a few minutes, there'll be 2 intelligence officers from headquarters to listen in. We're going to review the mission data, and depending on what they hear, we may make this an ongoing tasking.
They arrived and they started the debriefing. They discussed every part of the mission and the enemy's threat response. Then they viewed the mission data and they took note of the Martian fighter. After they finished, Ando asked the intelligence officers,
Well, gentlemen, what do you think?
Admiral, we need more intelligence. We will leave it to your people to plan how best to accomplish this.
The officers left.
Beast and Steel Eye, you're dismissed.
They left the briefing room. Ando looked at Weeks.
How do we do this?
Well, Admiral, we must assume that this won't be a recurring tasking, so what I would suggest would be that we give it to the alert dogs. I was thinking of combining the strike and see it into a single alert group. This way, we can respond as needed.
That's a great idea. We can hone our short notice planning processes. Set up pre-planned routes to Deimos just in case they want normal flights. I don't want all the crews to fly it, but give it to the alert crews and one of the regular flights.
I'll get our planner started right away.
It looks like Steel Eye has his head on straight, doesn't he?
Yes, sir. I know a few lieutenants that would be nervous to suddenly go to a potential combat situation. The kid looked cool as ice, a chip off the old block.
Ando smiled proudly. Chapter 12. Over the next 2 weeks, the strike group was very busy. They conducted exercises with other SDF ships and had tense moments with Martian militia ships that tried to enter the exclusion zone. Fortunately for all involved, they departed when the carrier scrambled. The carrier wing also continued their incursions of the Martian moon. At times, they would close to 2,000 kilometers in the no-fly zone and gather intelligence and attempt to rustle up their defenses in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. They tried to get the Martian militia to fly their interceptors and play with them. Most of the time, the interceptors stayed on the ground, as if they did not want to show anything to the Space Defense Force. However, in these tense times, a couple of brave souls would come up and engage the fighters in a lively dogfight. Of course, there was no weapon fire because of the operation's strict ROE. But the furballs were something to behold. Another thing they tried to accomplish there was to get the ground forces to try and engage them. This was more dangerous because if the defenses were feeling irritated by the intrusions, then they would at times fire their missiles. The Weasels were able to avoid the missiles, but they had to be cautious not to reveal too much of their tactics and not to fire, since our rules of engagement said no provocation was enough to send an arm down the emitter's beam. R.A. Ando sat alert with Jan. This raised some eyebrows at first, but Ando's policy that when the wing stood alert, that he took time to sit alert with the most junior aviator so that he could help him or her through any possible problems. Jan just happened to be next on that list. They made the Reaper squadron spaces the alert shack since it was vacant for the duration of the deployment. Besides Ando and Jan, there were 2 members of the blasters sitting alert. Jan was reading a letter from Lorena as the 2 others were playing pool, and Ando was studying the latest intelligence reports. Terrorist attacks at Space Defense Force bases were increasing at an appalling rate. Also, there were more ships that were defecting to the Martians, along with crews leaving ships with joint crews. As it was as if they were a de facto Martian fleet forming. Luckily, the Flight Command and Marines were not affected by the defections. For the umpteenth time, Ando cursed the Milan Accords aloud.
Sir?
Jan asked.
Nothing, Lieutenant. I'm just looking at these reports. Those damn Martian diplomats are much better than ours at negotiating treaties. There are more ships leaving the Space Defense Force to go directly under MarsCom. If it keeps up, we'll be lucky to have our carrier group. Now I know how the old Western settlers felt. Yeah, I know. Lorena can't tell me much. I think she feels her conversations are being monitored. Even her letters seem to be censored. I know the Sterling is still working as an escort us, but who knows how long they'll be able to do that. Thank goodness it's only the smallest ships. If the battleships went to MarsCom, the damage would be incredible.
Just then, the klaxon went off. They bolted out of their chairs and joined the plane captains in their dash to the fighters. The staging area stopped operations as the aviators and plane captains reached the fighters. The plane captains pulled the magnetic chocks from the wheels of the fighters as the aviators scurried up the ladders. The pilots put on their helmets so they could talk to them as they went through their alert checklists and strapped themselves in. They made sure that their switches were set, hit their engine start switches, and the 2 fighters roared to life. All this took less than 2 minutes from the klaxon. The alert fighters reported to the CIC. First was the 2 Reapers that gave their status, then Ando and Jan gave their reports. Once they reported in, they waited to see if they would need to head to the cats.
Alpha Flight, you are to execute pre-planned task Beta 1.
This simple message identified that they were to execute a specific mission package, one of several the aviators had to study and ensure were entered into their planning computers. When they looked and saw that the messages were authenticated, they closed their canopies, which was the signal to the plane captains that they were authorized to go. They did their final checks and headed to the cats. Once the catapults were depressurized, they were loaded and shot off into space. This only took 5 minutes after the first klaxon sounded. Jan went into echelon position alongside Ando, and during that time he reviewed the mission data. Package Beta 1 was a standard mission to Dimios, where the force ship would gather data on the defenses and try and stir up the enemy fighters to get more intelligence on them. Ando and Jan would be in support of the strike fighters that would do the reconnaissance. Thus, Alpha 1 and 2 were Reapers, and Ando and Jan were 3 and 4. Jan reviewed the fuel data and saw that they would need a tanker at the end of the mission. He data linked this to Ando and got an acknowledgement that Alpha 1 already requested a tanker on the egress portion of the flight. They were at the orbit point over Demios. However, there was no response from either ground defenses or the interceptors. Jan reached out with his instinct and saw nothing. Their sensors were blank, which was strange because at least something was tracking them when they conducted an overflight. The flight flew to their assigned zone and orbited while the two recon craft flew over their routes and targets. After that, they returned home. Jan continued to be alert to any interceptor that would attempt to jump them, but there were none. They reached their tanker and refueled for the return trip. They returned to the carrier and debriefed with maintenance. They returned to the ready room to debrief when the CIC called Ando.
Admiral, something is coming in on all comm channels from Mars. It says to prepare for an important message at 1300 Zulu.
What do you think it means?
Jan asked.
I guess we just have to find out.
To the CIC, he said.
Have all personnel stand by. Get the command staff on the line immediately. All people not flying meet in their ready rooms. Make sure it's recorded for those that are flying.
Yes, Admiral.
The controller said, then got on the communicator to relay the orders. Weeks was starting to climb into the cockpit for a training mission as the maintenance expediter came to her and said,
Sir, something's going on. The Admiral wants you to contact him immediately. He's bringing the entire command staff.
Weeks stared at him in surprise because it had to be important to abort any sorties.
Let him know I'm on my way. Suspend all flying activity.
Ando got into his office and waited for the command staff to get into video conference mode. They consisted of the XO of the group, the CAG, the commander of the Sejan, Normandy, the destroyer squadron, and the chief of staff. Ando said right away,
There will be a message from Mars coming in at 1300. I'm canceling all exercises and flying for today. I want the group on standby alert. Are there any flights still out there?
Yes, sir. I have 2 flights out. Should I abort them?
No, they might be back in time. I'm going to talk to command.
Jan triple-checked his mission notes so he could be ready for the debriefing if it happened. Markham was slated to replace Ando for alert, and it came in from pre-flight of his alert bird and said,
Steli, I want to talk to you, and now's a good time as any before things go to hell in a handbasket.
Okay, Skipper.
What do you think of the Fighting Ferret EW?
It's everything I thought it would be. She's a smooth ride and a lethal weapon.
I understood you talked to the Admiral during the alert stint.
Yes, I had a question. Are we going to war?
Well, I know one thing. The Admiral thinks we are, and that's good enough for me. Now, the real question is, are we ready?
I was wondering that too. I was getting worried when I thought about all that we have here is half a wing. But he's not worried.
Well, I think that the Accords force us to do is criminal. Splitting up the wing to defend the stations is good on paper, but the key to any battle is going to be offensive action. And to do that, we need all the wild weasels we can get on the carrier. I think this is why the Martians are making us stick to the letter of the law. There's one benefit with some Warhawks on Seeker. That station has a seed capability as well.
I see.
Well, enough of that. Let me tell you something about your father. In my career, I have served under many commanders. Some were pretty good. Some, well, most were not worth a damn. Your father is one of them, and that I would go to heaven and hell with. I'm going to tell you something. When the detailer came to the CAG with the list of nuggets to take into their wing, he put you at the top of the list. Not because the Admiral is your dad, but he knew that because of your natural born talent and your drive to be the best, that you would succeed. That is why he put you with me. There's not a better fighter squadron in all the force. I can tell you that anyone with my guys is the equal of any three from any other squadron.
I got it, hard nose.
Markham walked over to the squadron ready room to start recalling the squadron. In flag plot, staff and support officers were sitting at their duty stations waiting for the upcoming announcement. Ando walked in with Captain Weeks and took his spot at the podium and said,
All right, people. If this is what I think it is, I want to bring the group to general quarters. CAG status.
Yes, sir. The group is all ready. All squadrons reported in.
Good. I think we will have to wait and see what develops. What I want everyone to do right now is prepare for the worst.
Chapter 13. Sterling was holding station near the outskirts of Mars-Jupiter border. The CO had been running constant battle drills during the past few days. Lorena had finished her work prior to her next watch and was preparing to go for lunch when the communicator chimed. She looked at the screen and she smiled wryly as she saw one single sentence. Announcement at 1300. Father. The screens everywhere in the system showed Johann Taylor, Lorena's father, and a highly placed politician in the Colonial Council. As he faced the camera, he reflected on how he got into the position. He would have died in the Edirnia Polynesia, except some brave survivors evacuated him from the area. When he arrived in the field hospital, he was told he would lose his left leg and right arm. When he was also told that the aviator was rescued, he broke down and was catatonic for weeks. After the ceasefire was signed, he was in rehabilitation hospital on Mars. Afterward, he was demobilized and eventually went into politics. The image that he presented to the public was that of a wounded war hero. That earned him many votes. He soon learned the intrigue of politics and started to play many dirty tricks on his way to more power. He married the daughter of the governor at the time, primarily for the prestige that having a wife and family of the preeminent leader would bring. Lorena and his son Gerald were born soon after. He never had much use for family except as a means to an end because he loved another. 5 years ago, he was appointed governor of the Martian colonies. He also used his considerable political connections to find the identity of the man who crippled him. Once he found out, he made it a point, almost to obsession, to find out all he could about the man. He trained his daughter from a young age to hate his sworn enemy and set her out to carry out his vengeance. He allowed her to enter the academy, but publicly showed his distaste and disapproval for her decision. He followed Tran Ando through his rise to flag rank and command of the Sijan carrier strike group. He was also publicly dismayed but not displeased when he found out that his daughter was engaged to Ando's son. All this information he kept to himself as he planned his revenge. She reported to him that everything she was doing, including trying to stab him at the academy. He started his announcement by saying,
Greetings. I am Johann Taylor, newly elected president of Martian Council. There comes a time in the course of human events that the people must take a stand for what they believe in. After 50 years of making good lives for ourselves, it is time for us to grasp the future and take an active role in the affairs of the solar system. As of today, the Martian Council, representing the interests of inhabitants of Mars, is declaring independence. We are now known as the Martian Union. We have recalled our delegates from the Earth government immediately. All Martians serving as members of the Space Defense Force are now, as of right now, to be recalled and placed as members of the newly formed Martian militia. I understand that there may be ones that wish to stay in the Space Defense Force. However, consider well what you do, because you will no longer have a place in the Martian Union. Also, per the Milan Accords, ships with old Martian crews now belong to Martian Militia Command. Now, I must discuss a matter of great importance to the Martian people. The people of the Martian Union feel that through the illusion of mutual defense of the Space Defense Force is carrying out a policy of occupation, we do not want war. So it is in the interest of peace, we demand that the Space Defense Force leave Martian territory. Now, we are not unreasonable. We know the logistic nightmare you will have, so we give you 3 months to redeploy your forces. During this time, Demios is still off limits to any Space Defense Force incursions, and any intrusion of Demios space will be considered an act of war. There is nothing of interest on our moon. Finally, any violation of the Milan Accords will be considered as an act of aggression and will be dealt with accordingly. I hope that this will be the start of a new golden age of prosperity in the solar system, and that the United Earth Government and the Martian Union can one day be allies. Thank you.
As the screen went blank, Ando looked grim. He stood up and said,
Strike group, battle stations.
Bum, bum, bum.
And that is the end of this reading of All's Fair. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
It was very grim. Borat has taken over the Martian Union.
He's right. I shall rule this group with iron fist.
Do not go near Demios. Naughty, naughty.
Nothing to see there. Nothing to see there.
He's right.
Nothing to see there.
How is the narration?
I like it. What did you guys think, guys?
I'm sorry I screwed up earlier. I was late.
Okay. That's all right. Progress, not perfection.
True.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I did too.
I hope Jill is okay.
I hope Jill, you feel better. Yeah, she has a bout of the flu.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but fortunately she didn't have as many lines. So it was good. Your narration was great. Comics accents were awesome. You could do many different parts.
Moose and squirrel.
Yeah, we were saying that. I was thinking the same thing. We had to do
Demios is off limits to you, to Space Defense Force, and Moose and Squirrel.
Yes.
Moose and Squirrel.
Exactly.
I expected a moose and squirrel in there.
As well as all Chaos Agents.
Yes. So you thought it was good, Agent Pepsi One?
Oh, I very much enjoyed it. I really did.
Good.
No, but I just want to say one thing. One thing. That damn father of mine.
Yeah.
My God. Let me tell you something. There's only one way to deal with these people. That is the complete annihilation of the Martian government.
No. That would be act of war.
Yes.
You don't want to do that.
Yes. Look,
Okay,
Vladimir.
Okay, father and daughter.
Look, Vladimir, don't act up or you will be liquidated.
That's
Yes.
right. Tell him that. That's Johan. How can you, Johan?
Yes,
Now-
but we have good food, because Eastern
Now.
European recipes are good for you, like the goulash.
Look, just because
That's no way
everything
to
you
talk that. That's no way to
And
talk
the
to your
rifle
father.
butt.
just because everything you have is deep fried and mired in mayonnaise doesn't mean it's good.
Fried and mired. Oh my God. You all are terrible. Oh, Jesus, I love it.
I know.
Pudgy says, Alpha 1, when do the Power Rangers show up?
It's morphin' time.
In here. Hello, Matt G.
The mighty morphine Power Rangers. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
They
Let's
don't
see.
steal
Pudgy
the
says,
Flow to Mars.
Pudgy says, poor Jill. She was tucked out of an airlock when there was a hull depressurization.
Well, that'll suck out all the germs.
Yeah, that's true. She said that would be me getting into an accident before the battle happens.
In space, no one can catch germs.
Yeah.
True. All your base belongs to us.
All your bases all your bases belong to us. And
Eugene
next time on
Eugene
King
Bird
Dolphin
says-
TV, we'll be starring Zaf Brannigan.
Yeah.
Eugene Bird says, I thought you were reading a news story. Then it got Martian. What's wrong with Martians? Agent Pepsi 1 types Graham. Snort a poopa slap.
Claps
Claps
paws.
ball. And Legatus is giving me a nasty faces, ending it just as it was getting exciting. Yep. Hey, that brings you back. That brings you back.
It's
Exactly.
what is known as a cliffhanger.
Yes.
I learned it from the writers of Dallas.
Okay, Dr. Evil.
Let's see. I am Dodia, director of Duke Cox Intelligence Agents.
Hello, Stark of Iron.
Hello,
dude.
Stark. Let's see. Ooh, can you do a penguin?
Yes, I should have done the penguin as the leader of the Mars colony.
And hello, Stark of Iron.
Dude.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony, how you doing? Please put an SOI out there or a Tony to show Tony that we're thinking about him. And we're hoping everything goes well. Let's see.
Yep.
Yeah. Luckily, the good news is Tony's found a new place. The bad
good.
news is he's had to rehouse his furry triangles. So
Yeah.
6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Yeah. Oh, still unpacking. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But I've gotten him most of the funds that have come in so far. So
Oh, good.
Awesome.
That's good. Let's see. Max doing all my classics. I'm honored. Dr. Evil, The Martian, Zap Brannigan.
well, I'm not going to do. I won't do Rick Sanchez. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I am glad. I hope you all have enjoyed this. And now that we've got a bigger cast, we're hoping that this will be this will continue to be fun and hopefully we'll get through the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Evil is my true father and mentor.
That's right. Don't piss him off.
Don't-
Is Is that you trying to imitate my voice, Comic Relief Crusader? Because
Maybe,
if it
but
is,
I was doing it very poorly.
oh, I
Yes, you
know.
were.
I don't know. I don't know if you will be killed or just very badly burnt.
I don't expect you to talk,
Oh my
Mr.
God.
Bond. I don't expect you to talk, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die.
No. It's like, do you expect you to talk? No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know,
love that
Gerd
movie.
Frobe couldn't speak any English at the time.
Yes. His lines were all dubbed in, just like Ursula Andress and Dr. No.
Ah, I did not know that.
The more you know.
The more you know.
The
Sorry,
less you want to know.
sorry, Legatus. But you know, cliffhangers happened, and you will have to come back for the next reading.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's the way we draw you in.
Yes. So,
Who shot JR?
yep. And just remember, this is all a dream.
Yes.
Okay,
I
Bobby
can neither
Ewing.
defend or deny
Yes.
this.
What was
What?
I can neither confirm or deny this.
that?
Plausible
No, 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 no.
deniability.
No, it's like this. I'm sorry. It's like this. It's like this. It says, I can neither confirm or deny any of these facts to be factual. You're just dreaming all of this.
The story
Yep.
you were about to hear is true. Some of
You're
the names have
sleeping
been
in your
changed
bed.
to protect the innocent.
That's to protect the evil.
In a
Dude,
world
this-
that makes no sense, one story comes to light,
In a world
brought
gone-
to you by a bunch of
You're
bunch of
supposed-
in a
Yeah.
world gone mad, where one man sees space dolphins.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
one
my God.
man, one mission. King
One
Dolphin
dolphin.
TV.
Yes. King Dolphin TV.
One man shall raise a pod to read his stories, to keep you all coming back for more.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Yes.
You need
Indeed.
that announcer voice from the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Thursday.
I love it. Yeah. Thursday.
On Night Court, a Star Trek appearance. Next defendant up,
Oh my
Mr.
God.
Mr. Sulu. Hello. You've been charged with 14 felonies. Oh,
Isn't that
Uh, oh dear.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh dear.
This is too much. It's just.
Oh, yeah.
Decent movie trailer announcer.
That's
Thank you.
right. Only
You know-
Oh, Jinx.
Dolphin TV.
You know, I didn't do my vocal warm ups, so I was a
Oh, you
little
didn't?
rusty.
Oh, you do
should-
vocal warm-ups? I just do it.
I do. Usually I do before speaking. So I was
Ah.
You know, Dipsy's looking at me like I'm crazy.
Who? Oh, Dipsy.
yeah. You look at her and say, "You have no clinical diagnostic authority."
Yeah. One woman among many.
Yeah.
This Thursday on a very special episode of. Wait, okay. this Thursday on a very special episode of The Facts of Life.
Tootie goes on a rampage. No one suspected a thing. Blair finds a new bulb. Again. Oh man.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we're going to do this again. We'll just
Again, Sergeant Carter. Again.
Shazam!
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Hey, yeah, we got to keep going. This is a serial.
Well, yeah. That's
I
true.
was being fat. I was being facetious, Sergeant.
Yeah, we gotta keep going. This is a serial show.
This show must go
True.
on.
Yeah. We should be adding
So-
sound effects. That would be even more awesomer.
Lenrod was going to work on that, but
Hey, we can't have production values that high.
Well, that's true.
that's true.
We could just have Max make the sound effects as he's like, narrating everything. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Pew, pew,
I
pew,
hope
pew,
we
pew.
didn't burn out his voice.
Huh.
He had a lot of lines.
Should I-
Oh man.
Should I talk about should I start talking to Sandra about whether or not I'm drawing royalties?
Yeah.
No,
Agent
this is
Pepsi
all
1
amateur.
says- Agent Pepsi 1 says, facts of life. Trudy and the girlfriends do Dallas. All of it.
Gee.
How terrible. Rated G.
Last time you wondered who shot JR. This time JR comes out shooting.
And
Oh,
boy, is he pissed off.
And he's going after Falcon Crest.
ooh, ooh.
Yes.
JR versus Morgan.
Ooh,
It's
There we go.
JR versus Angela Channing.
yeah.
Snorter Pooper says serial show The Adventures of Captain Crunch and Space Patrol. Ooh, I
Ooh,
like
I like
Oh,
that.
Snort Up Poopus, it's not that type of cereal.
that.
And now, the adventures of Captain Crunch and Space Patrol.
It's a very special episode today. Captain Crunch gets promoted. Yes, it's Commodore Crunch.
Ooh,
Ah.
I like that.
Yes, I like that.
Mm.
Yes. So I'm going to, as soon as I can figure out how to move these all into the playlist, I will put all these Radio King Dolphin TV episodes into a playlist. So you can, if you want to go back and hear some of these, you can go back.
Nice, nice.
Hello, Phantom Outsider. How
Yo,
are you?
Phantom.
Toit.
How you doing, Fanty?
Sorry.
Hope you will catch this on the rewind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Catch us on the flip side.
Yes.
On the
And
flip
I may
side.
say, I must say this reading was very you guys were great at the read.
Why, thank you.
Reading this, and I appreciate you guys volunteering and spending the time to do this. This is going to be fun.
Even though I just remembered that I had to come on.
Yeah.
I was doing research. I swear to God, I was doing research all day because one of my clients that's all the way in China wanted me to do a bunch of research on a particular set of characters. And so I had to go through like 2 seasons, actually technically 3 seasons of a particular show. And I had to send a whole buttload of screenshots and schematics and stuff like that for that. And that's why I was late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll forgive you.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So, let's see. Agent Pepsi 1 says, who shot JR? JR murders all of Falcon Crest and Dynasty. Brought to you by the Charlie's Angels and Space Ghost.
Dynasty?
Yeah.
Dynasty 2?
Yeah.
Snort says, Morgan Fairchild, she of the flared nostrils. Yeah, she was toxic 80s guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She
Love.
was pretty.
Agent Pepsi 1 loves her 80s hair and her outfits. She was the model for my 80s music night. Oh.
I like that.
And Tony says, Good night, folks. If you need a sound engineer, I can help soon. Don't know exactly when, but got to get my name back out here. You take care, Tony. I'm
care,
glad
Tony.
everything is starting to work out for you.
That's right, man. Been praying for you, dude.
Yeah.
Plug the GoFundMe too.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want your ranch, you got it.
I got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Yep. Hold on. Copy and paste.
Copy and paste. Paste
Da,
and
da, da.
copy.
Copy.
Bingo.
Da, 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 da.
And we're trying to get it out there to other larger channels.
Yeah.
So
Yep, there you go. So anybody wants to help Tony out, there's the GoFundMe. Yeah, let's see.
help Tony out. If you think you're going to feel good about giving to those children on that commercial, that money goes nowhere. Give money to Tony. It goes directly to Tony. Okay. There, I said it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that is
It.
and he will do a big housewarming show. Okay.
House party.
House party. Anybody I have. Okay.
House party. It's the house that you want to part.
Whoop whoop.
Ooh, Agent Pepsi won.
Oh, there we go.
Ow.
Ooh.
I actually have a silver and black evening out like she wore on
Hello.
the thigh slit. I'm still trying to take it in a bit so it fits properly. That's my next project for 80s night. Woo.
Zev Brannigan approves this message.
Be careful, Snort. Morgan Fairchild is married to Tommy Flanagan, and I heard him say he eats polar bears for breakfast. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Maybe he meant bear claws.
Bear claws, yeah.
That could be.
Yeah, I can't see him eating Snort.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Little house on
The Dallas Prairie.
All right, so we have we are at the end of the story. We've gone through people's criticisms, people's likes, and don't worry, we will, he says Snuffles.
Oh, my agent will be talking to you.
New TV series, JR knows best. I like that.
AKA All in the Family.
JR and Archie Bunker. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I like.
Yep.
You know,
All right. Now we are at the time for
show notes.
All in the Ewing family.
It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. Yeah, with Mr. Reagan and Sam.
Dread 2.
I don't know what's going on.
It's okay. They're abbreviated show notes.
It's time for show notes. We're bringing it on. It's time for show notes. The only one. It's time for show notes.
It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. Yeah, with Mr. Reagan and Sandra too. It's time for show notes. We're bringing it on. It's time for show notes. You've all been warned. It's time for show notes.
See, that's how effective Fett's, show notes are. It's that memorable that I've memorized the lines to finish it every time.
Actually, that's Lenrod. That's Lenrod.
Lenrod. I meant Lenrod.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right.
I meant Lenrod.
Okay.
After,
With the
after,
Snorter
after show notes, I do have one brief thing I want to show, but please go on.
All right, let's start with the Snorter greeting. Take care, every human, dolphin, doggo, Dalek, ferret, eagle, hedgehog, and bandicoot. The copyright, yeah, a wholly owned subsidiary of King Dolphin. Thank you, Snort. Okay, show notes. We've got. Oh man, we're actually busy this next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right. This Saturday, bring your jokes, bring your best, bring your worst, bring the pit,
Slappies.
the slappies,
The slappies.
the slappies, where the
Time
winner,
for the Slappy Show.
where the winner gets the golden umbrella,
Ooh, I like that.
the golden umbrella.
Mm.
So make sure you bring your F game. Make the corn worse than the cornucopia. The necrocorn. I can't even say it. The slap. This
The
thing.
Necronomicorn.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
Just think the slappies. That will be this coming Saturday. And next, the Sunday will actually be a big week because on the Sunday the 15th, we will have RM Briggs come over and talk with us.
Ooh.
It's been a while since we've had her on. It's been a while, I think, since she's been on. So we will have her on Sunday the 15th. On the 18th,
Sunday.
on the 18th, we will have Yawada Hosby talk about a horror graphic novel and what she's been doing. She is a drawer, and she's done some really good artwork. On the 21st, I will be at the second book signing at the Mary Market at the Roundhouse. And judging from how I came out of that, the show on the 7th, how exhausted I am, I think I'm just going to do a Sunday show. So on the 22nd, it will be Sunday.
Make
And
sure
another Sunday. So 2 Sundays in a row.
make sure you wear a sweater.
At King Dolphin TV. And then for the holidays, on the 24th, because Christmas and Hanukkah are on Wednesday and New Year's is on Wednesday, we will do a Christmas Eve show on the 24th and a New Year's Eve show on the 31st.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So that will be coming up, and then the Just Causes for the rest will be on Saturday. What's this, Max?
Oh, this is a little special thing I made for Jill and for her birthday. So this is me flying my drone. Now the sound is turned off because I put the happy birthday theme on. And I don't want to get you a copyright strike.
Oh. Well, happy birthday. Should be. Nice.
That's awesome.
Yes. And what was that? Flight Aware?
No, that's just like every time you turn it on, it will tracks your telemetry.
Okay.
So
hard to top that.
No, yeah.
I've learned to fly. I think the last one I did, the guy's name was Curtis. So
okay. All right. Well,
he's getting a little better.
And everybody wish Antiderivative Jill a happy birthday,
And to get
belated,
better.
and also put an AJ out there because she's not feeling well. Let's send her some healing thoughts, and Jill, please get better. It's always tough to be down with the flu, so please think some good thoughts and healing thoughts so Jill can get back on her feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. She was a trooper tonight to do what reading, to do what reading she had. She's definitely a person who has the mindset the show must go on. Yes. You get a hot toddy and get some sleep, Joe. All right, so that is show notes.
Woohoo.
Let's see if it'll work this one.
It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. Yeah, with Mr. Reagan and Sandra too. It's time for show notes. We're bringing it on. It's time for show notes. You've all been warned. It's time for show notes.
Okay. Don't forget, coming up next is Pop Culture Breakdown. Make sure when you go there that you do a pod raid.
Yeah.
And
Well, I gotta go to Costco, but hey, you guys fly the flag for us.
All right. Yes. All right. So let me, since we didn't do the proper, a proper greeting at the beginning, we shall shout people out who have come to visit. And let's see. I want to put in New Jersey Bird. Okay. Who I guess he wanted a news report and ended up in a science fiction story. All right, so we had Eugene Bird. Thank you and welcome. We had Cobalt Bald Eagle sitting in the background. We had Matt G. We had the big Phantom Outsider. We had Pudgy Hedgehog, who said, "Hey, yay, story time."
The one and only.
The one and only Pudgy Hedgehog. Yes.
Yep.
We had West Kegel. Thank you for being here, West. Yeah, let's see. Did he say something? Or was he, let's see. Looking.
He said words.
Yes. Let's see.
He said words. We can
He
put
said
them
words.
together and form sentences.
Yes. But does anybody know how to
He said evening.
diagram sentences anymore?
I'll check out some Schoolhouse Rock videos.
Okay.
We have the technology.
Yeah. Let's see. Pudgy says, "Ready for the Feast of Seven Fishes." Let's see.
I don't think that's going to be enough for Snorter Poopus.
No.
Tonight, Jill said the F word, fudge. Ooh, yes.
Fudge.
Yep. All right. So we had West Kegel. That is our visitors. And FKHC says, "This story's bad. I'm turning the dial to the Jack Benny." Oh, well. Can't satisfy y'all.
Oh, boy.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. All right. And now the lifeguard of the pod. Starting with the producer, 'Sandra'. Thank you for Thank you for indulging. Thank you for being here. Thank you for calming Trike down. Looks like Trike is sleeping, so I probably bored him too. Yes, for all things Dolphin Wars, there's the site. There's the link to the Dolphin Wars. And Agent Pepsi One says, "Good night, everyone. Love you all." Yeah. Daughter Poopa says, "I used to diagram sentences, but kept dangling my participles." Oh, when you have your participles dangled, how painful that could be. All right, so Dandro, the producer. We had FKHC 2005. We had Legatus Legionine. Stark of Iron came by and please help him out. I'm glad that things are getting better, and just give him a hand. And GoFundMe was posted out there. Okay, and I did not do this at the beginning. We'll do it now. Okay, let's get this right now. Let's do that. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Snora Pupas! Gilbert. Dot Scream. Hashtag roar. Hey, this effect is not good. Great reading, guys. Great reading. But you'd be better having Snorta Poopas read. Could you imagine all the words coming out as roar and grr and rar? That would be top notch. Okay. Snort, if you, I guess if you want to come on and do a reading, you can do that too. Okay, I'd like to thank my cast. You guys were great.
We know.
You guys were absolutely great. This I enjoyed this reading tonight. We had Jill is still under the weather. I'd like to thank Antiderivative Jill doing the roles of Tanya Ando. Doing the roles of Tanya Ando, various other people in the role. We had Agent Pepsi One, who did Lorena Taylor and additional parts. We had Comic Relief Crusader, who did Weeks, Taylor, Markham, Reynolds, Riker, Beast, and an intelligence officer. And Max doing the narration. And all of you guys were fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
No problem. All good.
Yes. And we will do it again. And hopefully we will have a lot more fun. A lot of fun doing it. Agent Pepsi One bailed out, and she says, "Good night, everyone. Love you all. Good night, Agent Pepsi One. Agent Pepsi One. They've given you a number and taken away your name."
Well, they'll bail out if you give them a parachute, Raymond.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I think we're going to call it a night. We will see you this Saturday for the Slappies. Bring your A game. Step your game up. So, good night, everybody.
Night.
Night.
I love you all. Stay safe. Be good. And see you on Saturday.
Bye.